Hello, I'm Brian and this is How to Automotive. In today's video, I'm going to show you some of the most common mistakes people do when they're doing suspension work. So there's a certain way to tighten and torque down fasteners on suspension, and I'm going to show you the best way right here. So my first tip for you guys is when you pull the vehicle in, you measure from the center of the hub to the top of the fender here. You take that measurement and you write it down. Now you're ready to remove the suspension part that you're changing and then go ahead and install it back in the vehicle. But before you tighten it down, there's a technique that I'm going to share with you. So I installed this new lower control arm here, but I did not tighten any of the fasteners here. The reason why is you tighten this with the suspension at the angle it is right now. The bushing right here, when you tighten it down, when you go to the up travel of the suspension, it will rip and tear the bushing because the bushing needs to be centered. So when the suspension is hanging down like this, it's at the lowest point. Now what we need to do is we need to jack the suspension up to right height. So on most cars, if you put the wheel on and lowered it down and then we try to crawl under to tighten that bolt up, there'll be no way to get under there. So what I do is I use a jack and place it under the ball joint on the suspension and jack the suspension up to right height. On this vehicle, I got it on a hoist, but you can do this on jack stands here with the wheel off. Now there's plenty of room with the suspension jacked up to its proper position. So right here, I'm demonstrating that. So I'm jacking up the suspension, being careful not to knock it off the rack or jack stands right here. So you jack it up, then you use that tape measure and you measure from that exact center of the hub to the spot that you measured on your fender well arch right there. So mine's a little low. I jacked it up a little higher until I get it to the exact same measurement that I did before I took the suspension apart. And now I know that this is now at right height, and now you're able to crawl under the vehicle and torque it down. So this is how you prevent your new suspension parts from prematurely wearing out, because no one likes prematurely. And you should have plenty of room to crawl under there to tighten up those fasteners in the proper torque settings, depending on what you're working on. I'm Brian Esser from How to Automotive. I'd like to thank you guys for watching and encourage you to subscribe.